Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna do a quick video talking about a pretty nice strategy that you can use using your anchored volume profile tool in order to help you in trend following strategies. Let's start off just with a quick definition again of what a VWAP is. I actually have a whole video dedicated to the VWAP indicator, which I'm gonna link on the top right of your screen now. But basically the definition of VWAP is a technical analysis indicator that represents the average price a security has traded based on both volume and price. Okay, so it's very similar. Let's just take one like that. You can see that it looks very similar to like a moving average, but the moving average bases itself on the a certain time period and the candle closes, so it's only taken into account time and price, whereas the VWAP takes into account volume, time, and price. So it looks similar, but it is smoother. Traders use it to help them determine intraday price trends. Now, in general, people will use a VWAP for their daily sessions. Like for example, if I bring up here my Sierra charts, you can see here, this is the E-mini S&P 500, and I have here extended trading hours in blue, regular trading hours here in the gray session volume profiles, and this purple line here is the session VWAP. So you can see it restarts from 0 every day right at the session open, in this case at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, and then is going to be tracking the average volume and price of all the trades that are happening in this market. And you can see it's a great tool just to show us who is in control. In this case, you can see how we retested several times and failed to break below, and we had a very strong trend day up. Similarly here, we opened up and we started coming down. We came and retested it, and it wasn't here resistance until we get back above it, that then we have some good movement. So the VWAP is a very nice useful indicator that I like to use just to try to be on the right side of the market. If we're above VWAP, buyers are in control. If we're below, sellers are in control. Okay, and the VWAP is a tool that is also used by a lot of institutions, etc. You know, you read a lot of videos about all this dumb strategies that people say, oh, trade like the banks, trade like the institutions, and it's all just pretty much like BS. But the VWAP, it is actually an indicator that is used by institutions because the VWAP gives them an indication of what the fair market value is, meaning where traders are willing to be buying volumes of a certain security. So since big institutions have massive orders to fill in, then usually what they will do is they'll slowly deploy those orders in order to not move the market against them and get a bad fill or slippage. And they use the VWAP as a guide of where to continue to add into their positions. Okay, so that's a quick introduction to VWAP. But now with VWAP, we have what we call the anchored VWAP. This is here on TradingView on the left side menus. If you bring up here, you can see there's under the volume based category, there's one called anchored VWAP right here. Okay, so what that does is you're not just using a VWAP session to session, but you can set a VWAP at whatever point on the chart you want, and it's going to calculate the indicator from this moment all the way into the future. Okay, so the basis of this strategy is to use anchored VWAP when we have big economic events going on. As you can see on this chart, I have several vertical dotted lines, and you can see here at the bottom, I have marked off the 3 major economic news events that affects the equity markets, especially like SP 500 or NASDAQ, which is the FOMC, when the Federal Reserve speaks and they make interest rate decisions. Non-farm payrolls, which is the first Friday of every month, and CPI announcements, which have to do with the core price inflation index. Okay, so we're just going to go over and apply a anchored VWAP to each of these news events that we've had recently going back from September, and just analyze how this could have given us some trading opportunities. And you can see in general, when these events happen, this is a 4-hour chart, but when we have these events, we usually have a pretty volatile movement with a large candle compared to the rest of the time. So here, let's apply it over here to the FOMC we had in September. And you can see right here, in this, we're obviously trying to go with the trend. So if we have a negative reaction, then we're looking to ride the VWAP and use it as a short entry. If we do claim above it, then we can look for the opposite side. Or if we have a bullish scenario, then look for it as a long strategy indicator. So here you can see we opened up and we start just going down. And then here, like a week after, we have a retest of the VWAP, roll the anchor VWAP with a bearish retest. Then here we actually came, we gapped up above it, came back below, but now we're holding above it. Then we lose it, and again we have a bearish retest of it, etc. Okay, I don't try to look at this, from like years ago, because I think, as we get more events, then I would just like to switch it to those more recent events. But if we take this now and roll it over here, this was FOMC on November 1st. And here you can see how we had a very bullish scenario right here, because everyone is now expecting some rate cuts for next year. Market started pushing up, we came back and we barely missed it, but you can see how here we spent 2 days consolidating right on top of the anchor VWAP, and then we just continued going. So this is a very great tool just to use as a trend following instrument. Here, if I move this here, non-farm payrolls, and here this one was a little bit choppier. You're not always gonna get very precise. You can see here we were holding it for several days. We came back down, but then we just reclaimed and then we went. But then again, this is another event that just changed the sentiment on the market. If I move this over here, this was the CPI announcement on November 14th, and same thing. You can see this one was really nice. You can see how this movement here, the anchor VWAP from this event, gave us some really, really nice entries, trend following entries here. And you can see how price held through 5 tests of this anchor VWAP to continue on its upside trajectory. Then here, if I move it into non-farm payrolls for December, this one was not as clear. You can see we got very choppy on this one, so this one was not that useful. A lot of times, if the core data that's released is not very significant, then we're not really going to get a impulsive reaction that's going to give us a nice trend following move. And then finally here, CPI from December 12th, and you can see right here we had a pretty nasty candle with 2 very big wicks to both sides, but then we pushed up, a very nice retest, and then a very impulsive move, and then we came back and we did plunge a little bit for it, but then we reclaimed and had a very nice retest, and we're now continuing on this. Okay, but that's pretty much the strategy, how you can use an anchored VWAP indicator in order to hinge it from important news economic events. Specifically, I'm talking in this case about stock indices, the futures market, but you can obviously use this for any market that you're trading. If you're trading Forex, you could use this for the European Central Bank meetings. If you're using crypto, you can do this, at the when there's a halving event, etc. But that's pretty much the premise of this general strategy, which I hope has been insightful. Okay, I will see you all in the next video. Take care, make sure to subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.